Hi, I'm Joanna Hennon, and today I want to share with you an exercise, a mindset exercise that I myself use to help go deeper into the mindset work. Because mindset work isn't just about words, right? It's not about repeating, I am awesome, I can do it all the time. Um, Mindset work is about the underlying beliefs, about the stuff that's going on under the surface, about the stuff that's a core belief for you because that's where your action comes from. Your action doesn't come from the surface level. So I find that many people stay at that surface level with their mindset work, and this is an exercise that I use to go a little bit deeper to find out what's going on underneath when I can't seem to grasp what that belief is. So it starts with choosing what you want to work on, right? So you can pick a person that you want to forgive, someone who has hurt you, someone who has wronged you in some way you feel, or a concept that you'd like to make peace with. So maybe that's money, for example. You could write a letter to money. Yeah, we'll be writing a letter. So I gave away the next step of the exercise already. Something that you'd like to change your relationship with. So again, whether that's money or something else, something that like to leave behind, you could write write a letter to your younger self or to the guilt that you're carrying, or anything like that. So whatever it is that you want to change your relationship with or you want to transform. So the first step is to pick a thing. Now, I want to illustrate this with a story. And for me, what I picked was an old boyfriend. When I was in my 20s, I was in a very abusive relationship. And even though I'd done a lot of work on that and a lot of work on him, forgiving him and on forgiving myself for what happened and my part in that, um, I could see, I could feel, and then I was told in a reading that I was still carrying some energy from that. So I wanted to release it. So I chose him, this particular person, to work with. So so choose something that you want to transform, or you want to learn from, or you want to release, or that you're still carrying the energy from that you want to leave behind. And the second step, as I've already given away, is to write a letter. So this is a letter that you'll never send, obviously. This is a person. So this is a really good technique because it's very private, right? When you sit down to handwrite a letter, you kind of automatically get in that space of really sharing from your heart. You're not writing a grocery list. You're pouring your heart out, and so it immediately gets you in a space that is a little bit different. Especially for us entrepreneurs, we spend so much time in front of a computer that sitting down, maybe light a candle, sit down with a nice piece of paper and set the intention that this is going to be a powerful exercise. It automatically kind of creates a different sort of space. So writing a letter is a really good exercise. Then, as you start writing with the ultimate intention of releasing something or forgiving someone or something like that, see what memories come up for you. So this is your clue to what's going on underneath your thoughts, to those beliefs underneath, right? So for me, I was writing this letter, and the memory that kept coming up for me was me and my parents in my parents' kitchen. So my parents live in Warsaw, and there was one year where I spent Christmas with them, but only like a day. And then this man in my life joined us, and we stayed in a hotel. And this was very weird for me because my family was always very close, and it was really bizarre not to be with my family for a longer period of the holidays. So I had a lot of guilt. And there was one day when I left my boyfriend in the hotel, and I went to spend the afternoon with my parents, and we were sitting in the kitchen. And that I didn't feel good. It felt weird. It felt like I wanted them to treat me differently. I wanted them to like this guy, and he was obviously just not a nice person. And my parents could see this, and I could not at that point. But that memory of me there with my parents in that small kitchen in their apartment just kept coming back to me, and it seemed so simple, and I didn't really know what it meant. So this takes us to the next step. So once you have a memory that keeps coming up for you as you're writing or as you're connecting with whatever you're releasing or transforming, sit with that memory. So it's really easy to just say, oh, that meant that I felt guilty about spending time with my parents, right? That's the surface level, really easy answer. And it's not. It's not always that, right? So you have to go a little bit deeper. You have to dig it a little bit deeper. And here's the question. There are two questions. You can choose which one or ask them both that will help you go deeper. So focus on that memory. Sit in that memory. Sit with that energy of that memory. Do not leave it. Do not gloss over it. And ask yourself, what did I make that moment mean? What did I decide in that moment? And you might have to ask this question or these questions several times before you feel an answer come up. I had to really force myself to sit with that memory because it was very uncomfortable. I did not like to feel that guilt again. And also I just don't like revisiting that time of my life in general. So I had to really literally force myself to stay in that moment and ask that question and just keep asking, what does this mean? Like, what did I decide? Why is it still in my consciousness, that memory? Why is it still affecting me like that? And what came up eventually, after I had to make myself sit with it for a while, what came up eventually was that in that moment, I decided that I can't have both the ability to follow my heart in life and the love of my family, the support of my family. Because to me, going off with this guy was following my heart. Like I loved him at that time, and that was following my heart. It doesn't matter that, it ended up being bad for me, right? In that moment, that's what my heart wanted. And I decided that I couldn't do that and still have the support of my family. And why was it still coming up now? Well, I'm sure a lot of other people experience this as well. When you're building a business, maybe you're building a business that's a little bit alternative, like mine is spiritual and just a little bit different. My family isn't entirely, convinced by this concept. So of course that belief was still there. That I had decided that I can't follow my heart and still have the support of my family. So I was sabotaging myself because I don't want to lose the support of my family. My family is super important to me. So when it came to playing big or stepping out into the world in a bigger way, or taking up more responsibility in my business and in the world, this was stopping me. And I would not have seen it if I hadn't made myself sit there with that memory. To see what exactly I decided in that moment. Because if it's coming back to you that vividly, those memories that you can really remember all the details of, if it's coming back to you that vividly, then there's wisdom in that moment. So the last step is to clear it, right? And then, so now you have something to clear. You've reached a belief that was underneath somewhere, and you've reached where it came from, which is really useful information, because now you can kind of rewrite that, right? So then you can clear it in whatever way you like. So you can tap it out. You can use EFT. There's lots of other energy techniques. You can go to a kinesiologist. You can continue writing your letter. So sometimes that's all it takes, right? That's what I did in this particular case. I just continued writing my letter, and I addressed that. I addressed that issue that came up. And then when I was done writing my letter and with the forgiveness and everything else, I tore it up and burnt it. I think that's the one I burnt. Usually, I try to burn things, even though I need to get my husband's help because I get a bit scared that I'll burn down the house. But that particular one was really powerful, and I wanted to burn it. So there you go. That's a process that you can use. So just to go over the steps real quick. You pick something that you want to work on, a person or a concept, money, something that you want to change your relationship with, or some kind of situation or person where you want to leave the energy of something behind, where something's kind of dragging your energy system down. You start writing a letter. That's number 2. Number 3, pay attention to what memories come up. And a lot of times there will be one that keeps coming up, or that just kind of won't leave you alone, and then that's the one. That's the one to pick. So just pick the one that's strongest, and then sit with that memory, and ask yourself, what did I make that moment mean about me? What did I decide in that moment? What did I make it mean? And see what comes up. You might have to sit there for quite some time, and keep asking that question. Just wait for the answer to come up, and then you have something to clear, and then you can choose your preferred method to clear that, either EFT or something else, or to just write it out, journal it out, like I did in this particular case. So there you go. That's a great way to go just a little bit deeper into the mindset work. And I really hope that it helps you. Let me know.